Good morning.
Good morning, Sherrod.
And happy belated Veterans Day too, my friend.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yep. It's people like you that give us the freedom that we have. There's not a day in my life that I don't think about veterans and people that are literally willing to sacrifice their lives so other people have freedom. So
Can I say something? That coaching session was epic yesterday. It was, I'm so proud of my friend Roger. We're in the same role play group. He was on fire.
well, here's one thing I can tell you about Roger. My man puts in the work. 6:30
He,
a.m., he's there. 9:30 a.m., he's there. And look, for everyone's like, well, I've been doing this a while. It's like this. There's an X, it's an access. There's a hill that you climb to get to this point. Once you get here, it's like this. But most people aren't willing to climb the hill. They commit to outcome over activity, and continuous activity is what gives you outcome. And we were talking about this. So you'll see this coming out, right? I'll give you just a little spoiler. Like one of the bonuses for renewal is like people have an option where they can do an individual coaching call with me, right? And a lot of these calls have been around like, how do I get the most out of the program, right? And like it's if you think about your business in a year, it's not about how many sessions you attend, it's like how you can go deep in an area, right? So I can like highlight Roger here. He's done a really good job in going deep in this. So for next year, Roger would really want to focus on prospecting, right? Like, how do I get the most leads in now that I've really leveled up my skill set, right? So we have buyer and seller and prospecting and an accountability group for each. So that's enough out of that. But like, thank you, Wayne, for sharing that. We have another epic session today. Look, we're talking about luxury client experiences, right? So today, I want to teach you how to use these buyer and seller experience scorecards on how to really understand your process, right? So who knows the difference between growth and scale? Anybody? Okay. Growth, Pamela, you have an answer. No? Okay. Growth is done by more human effort. It's just like I put more. It's like just adding more time. Scaling something is done by systems and consistency. If you have systems, you scale things, right? If you're just growing, you're just putting more more labor into things, right? And so when we go through how do you create these experiences, you need to understand first, how are you measuring the experience you give? Too often is in real estate, I've been going and having a lot of conversations. I don't know, it's very organically came up. The difference between foundation, stability, and fluidity, right? There's this misconception that things can be fluid, right? Sure. If you want to go live on a beach somewhere, you can have a fluid day every day, right? Even if you're a monk in a monastery, you can't have a fluid day. There's certain things you have to do, right? So like, unless you're moving into a jungle somewhere or like you're just like going off the grid, right? Vacation's a great thing to be fluid if you want to have that kind of vacation. But also, if you wake up every day on vacation, like, what do I want to do? You eat hours of the day up trying to figure things out, right? You can't build the foundation on fluidity. You need a foundation that fluidity can go on top of. Does that make sense, everybody? So in a business, if you're not working on your business, tracking your process, measuring your process, strategically improving your process, your business is fluid. So there's no foundation, there's no system, there's no way to grow. The next part to this is understanding I can only work on so many parts at a time. And the mindset shift needs to be like, I want to make this a 9, right? And I always share this story when I built, like, if you go on a Compass and you look at the Robert Refkin Agent Action Plan, great action plan. Literally, like, I got out of Robert's head and I worked on it to like, how would he nurture a database if he was an agent, right? And so we're going through this. I had an Inman article and everything written about this. And so he told Rory and I, I was like, Robert, he's like, I just need this to be a solid 8 or a 9. I'm like, Robert, we want this to be an 11 or 12. He's like, no, Shrug. He's like, there's nothing that's a 10 in life. If you have a 10 out of 10 that implies there's no room for improvement, and there always is. Man's a genius, right? So the goal is to get sections of this to 8s and 9s. and then move on to the next one. Right. And if you do this strategically over the course of a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, your income and your referrals will just keep going up. I always say the best form of prospecting is the current clients you're working with, because if you create a epic, organized luxury experience, you're just going to keep referring you. Do most people in real estate have organized systems and structures that they work with in their business? If somebody says yes, I'd like to talk to them. Not you as an individual, I'm talking us as a whole. So like I can look here, right? Now this is a bold claim here, so I'm sorry if I offend anyone, but in my experience, right, the Munoz Group in Austin, so I have Callie here, I have Juanita here, Teal's here. Their group is the most organized business and system I have ever seen in the 17,000 hours I've done this. This thing is literally like a machine from start to finish. Like they have this thing so dialed in. And they're like, well, Shrug, what do you work with these people individually on? It's still tweaking it, right? There's like different conversations, different touch points, organizing this better, packaging, positioning, and promoting. So like it's there, it does exist, right? But you have to just be obsessed over this. So if you look at a scorecard, and like, I'm just going to share my screen just so you could see what this looks like. And again, we'll attach this to the recording. So buyer consultation, post-meeting action steps, inspection, appraisal, after close, client maintenance, and gift. We have the same whole thing with sellers, right? So this is a client experience scorecard. So you want to start with today's a buyer day, right? So let's talk about buyers. What is your initial conversation, right? So there are different forms of initial conversation. Somebody calls you to inquire about a property. That's one conversation. You meet somebody at an open house. That's another conversation, right? You get a referral and you have a consultation. That's another conversation, right? So you've identified 3 different ways that leads really come to you, or sign calls. That's another conversation, right? So then you have to figure out the initial call. That's the first part of this experience that you want to create, right? And the first part of the experience is not talking about what you do. It's understanding what they want. Not talking about what you do and understanding what they want. So on a scale of 1 to 10, within the first 3 to 5 minutes of somebody talking to you, how good are you at doing that? Put it in the chat and be honest. Massive room for improvement, right? So let's think about this. And I want to walk you through like one example, right? So if somebody inquires about a property, right? Great, you're inquiring about this home. You know, I know your time is really valuable. What specifically made you want to look at this home? They're going to start going into it. You can say what rooms are most interested to you. Has anyone taken the time to share with you what functional flow is and how it's important to finding the right home? No. Would it be okay if I asked you a few really important questions? So when we meet, we could solely focus on what's most important to you. Yes. And you start going into it, right? What rooms are important? What type of experiences you want to have? Like, what does that look like? How does that show up during the week? How does it show up on weekends, evenings? You entertain? What are the holidays? What other rooms? Like, oh, I want a backyard gathering, right? This was an example we just used. Great. Like, where do you see the people in the house? Like, how does this work? And it's like, great, let's go look at this home. And from there, let's take the time to really understand how this is, and let's meet in our office and let's find the right home that fits into your lifestyle. Oh, okay, that's great, right? The whole conversation, I never told them anything that I did. Realize real strength is in understanding what they want. And then when you understand your tools and your tool belt, it's really easy to close them, right? Then the next part of this would be pre-qualifying, right? The Med C, how well do you do that? And then there are a variety of different areas that you can start with in the beginning, from explaining the market to multiple offers to reviewing disclosures, the home buying process, closing fees, the writing, if it's not multiple offers, explaining the written offer and bidding process, right? Like, do you have buyer questionnaires that you go through? Do you share helpful resources? Like, how good are you at doing this in the context of what somebody else wants and knowing when to use it? This is obsessive client experience. So can I share with you an example that relates to all of you in this coaching program? Raise your hand if that's okay. If you don't want to raise your hand, perfect, right? Then I'm not going to say it. All right, Abby, you're a straggler, but I appreciate it. I see the people whose cameras are on. Right. So look, there are certain things that we know that you want, right? We know you want more and easy access to materials, right? We know that based on the emails, even though we made the role play sessions for those questions, that you need some form of way to bounce off real-time situations as the year goes on, correct? Right? We also know that you guys all love getting together in person, right? Like, this is the first retreat that I'm not at. I can't tell you how many messages I've gotten. Where are you? Where are the CSC people and everything else? So we know you want more in-person get-togethers, right? We know that you want better ways to meet each other and have accountability groups, right? And the last one is every one of you want all of your things in Marketing Center, right? So that you can actually just use this stuff, put your logo on it, and remove all the barriers. We also know that you care and you like it when we, the next 2 months, I'll call every single person that has signed up for the program. You guys love those calls. You like hearing from our team. You like people checking in on you. You love accountability because life happens sometimes and you miss a few weeks. And sometimes just a simple phone call of saying, hey, Abby, where you've been, we want to make sure that the coaching's in your calendar. Do you need to get into an accountability group? We know that that kind of personalized care and accountability and nurturing throughout the year are important, correct? So we've literally sat here. We built an AI search for all of you. Myself and Chris Smith put all of our stuff to make like a real coach that you can interact with and put your scenarios in so we can update it. We have an annual client appreciation event where we're inviting all of you for a bash of hundreds of people to get together. We made quarterly events in our office. Martha has seen it and she could attest to you. Martha, have we not started putting all of our stuff in Marketing Center? And it's beautiful. Customized buyer consultations, listing presentations, communication plans, like all of these things are in there, right? Then you start thinking about like the accountability groups. They're going to be structured to mirror the sessions, right? So this was us doing the same exercise. We hired somebody and literally their job title is called the head of happiness, where her whole job is going to be just calling and talking to you and make sure that you're going to the sessions. If you need help getting into a group, finding a resource, whatever it is. But if you don't show up, just understand this. Next year, we will be calling you, right? We built an entire dashboard that helps track everything so we know who needs the most love and support. And if something happens, we want to be there for you. But this is how we've taken all of these things and looked at all these things and like, it took us like several years to work through all this stuff, right? Like, it's not easy. So just understand the most realistic thing that you can do is start working on one area at a time, right? Client experience and luxury client experience starts with the mind shift of you, that I need to build a solid foundation. I can't fluidly work on this, right? So even if you get into like the whole buyer consultation, right? That's part of it. And there's different parts of it, right? There's the pre-qualification, there's the needs analysis, there's the compass advantage, there's knowing your numbers, finding off-market properties, mutual commitment, reviewing disclosures, sharing the offer process, next steps, asking for the agreement. Oh, and people think you should only get paid 1%, right? Because it's not like you need to know how to do all these different things and run a marketing and accounting system, an admin system, a customer service system, a client acquisition system. Like, it's crazy. You get paid good money because you do a lot of work, right? Then you want to tighten up, like, how great is your meeting recaps? Who here has ever worked with somebody that sends them like the most epic meeting recaps in anything they've done?
Martha does for her accountability group.
Yep. So people appreciate that, right? By the way, if you're doing the calls on a Plod note, you can take the entire transcript and stick it into ChatGPT and literally just build one prompt so it does the same thing every time that says, this is a client I just had a consultation with. I want to highlight action steps, things they need to know, what's going to happen. And this needs to be a recap where somebody reading it that was not at the meeting felt that they have all the information as if they're there. You tweak it a couple times. And literally every time, once you get to what you like in that thread, you just have to go back to the thread and put the transcript there and it already knows what to do. There's a real world out there of leveraging technology, like to the way we were talking about yesterday on the call where you could screenshot things in your CRM and turn them into emails. It's pretty cool. So then after that, touring properties, this is where it is. Touring properties and the calendar to close is your biggest opportunities. When you tour properties, does someone want to tell me what that process is like after we've identified the properties? Oh, by the way, in the consultation, how do you search Encompass collections and how you're different? And how does that directly correlate to their needs analysis? If you do your consultation the right way, by the time you've done your pre-qualifying, your needs analysis and done with search, they should automatically want to hire you. The rest of it's just icing and gravy on the cake. But again, this is all experience, right? How it starts is how it goes. Does anyone want to walk me through their touring process that feels that they do it at a 7 or 8 or a 9? And want open and honest feedback? This is like free one-on-one coaching.
I'll share.
All right, perfect.
This is Monica. There is some background noise. I'm in the office and our meeting's going to start in a little bit, so sorry. But I have them, favorite or put in their collection which properties they want to tour. And then from there, I put it in a client tour. I optimize the route. I even double check the time frame, how many minutes in between each two, because even though it optimizes, sometimes I still want to double check. I put little client notes in there, and I do a whole cover for them when I send it, and I send them both the PDF and the digital, because I do know that my clients have in the past asked for the digital on their text messages. So it caters to them. They could just pull it up on their text messages and be able to pull all the info on there. And if I've updated it, I love how it's interactive. I can still update it to one more showing, like the night before we go, and I'll just send them a new link and share that it's still on that same one. They just have to pull it up again. And when we do go, we pull up, while we meet at the property, I put the meet designation, time and date. When we meet at the first property, I do pull up the digital tour, and then we look and navigate on there, like any notes, so that it's in our hands, so that it's available. My clients love it. I do feel like it helps me above the rest with the client and how much digital technology is in my fingertips with the tours.
So in the end, right? Who here feels that's pretty robust, right? So what I would do is, because that link has all the information, right? I would write it out in an email, like, dear Shrug, looking forward to meeting you. Our first location's here. I've outlined the properties below, including the times that we're going to spend in each. So if there's any property that's of additional particular interest that you want to spend more time in, please let me know. Just that this also is how you know, oh, they really like this house, right? And say, look, I've also attached these 2 links at the below. One link will be labeled this, and it's this. Another one's like this, and it's like this. And I've attached this, then it acts like this. Done, right? You add that one little bit in with all that context, you're like, wow. And by the way, you know how you can turn that link into a PDF?
Well, when I send it, it could go in both formats. We could download it and save it as a PDF.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. Now,
Okay.
go into ChatGPT and upload that PDF and start messing around with a bunch of prompts so it can create you an amazing email that you could send to your clients where you don't have to manually write it. Take this PDF, I'm writing the email. I want to provide a service that's like a 5-star luxury experience, as if the Ritz-Carlton or the Four Seasons was doing it. So please provide dates, times, relevant information, organize it, not make it too wordy, direct to the point, and send it to them where It has pre-built links for this, and this, and explains everything. Like done. Like you don't have to manually do this anymore. And once that thread again is there, all you have to do is upload the next PDF and it'll follow the same format of the email over and over and over again. Guys, you just have to figure this out once now.
I love that. I will share that I do one more thing that is a little bit anal in time frame, because sometimes we'll see like 10 or 12 in an evening, and I will put in my private notes the time frame it takes from one property to the other, so I know what our time limit is between. And then that way, when I have it in my hand and my client says, do we have more time in this property? I said, yes. It takes us like 8 minutes. I gave myself 15 or something like that. So it's in my notes of how long it takes from one to the other. It's a helps with preparation.
Yeah, 100%. Right. So who here feels that, hit yes in the chat if you feel like you got something valuable there that you feel that you can implement into your business? The power of collaboration.
And Chirag, I used that one time with the CMA. I took a CMA because I had somebody asking me, they were going to make an offer on a property and they wanted to know the value. I plugged it into ChatGPT and it summarized everything for me in this wonderful email. It is amazing. So you can use it with everything that comes out of Compass. It's really great.
Yep. So that's client experience in a nutshell, right? There's recaps. You all have to get Plod notes, right? Like go do your favor and get one of these. Now they have wearable ones, right? Lenny has his. You don't have to put it on your phone. It could be a necklace, it could be a bracelet, right? Get organized. Keep this stuff in Google Docs. Keep everything in one place. Like be the person, like, they always say you have to look and fit the bill, right? Like if you're going to charge somebody a lot of money and you're not dressed nicely and your car looks like it's going to fall apart, it's a mess, people are going to be questioning what you have, right? Like if you're able to do this, which I believe all of you can, so I'm going to change my if to a when you do this, your entire business will change. Do you think there are a lot of realtors actually doing anything like this right now? Every time I share this with people, like, wow, like this is an incredible idea. And they make it look like I found the cure for cancer. I'm like, this is what the Four Seasons would do if they were a thing. This is what event planners do. You want to see good recap emails? Find an event planner. Their recap emails are insane, like the good ones. I started telling our event planner that we just started working with them, like, do I even have to attend the meetings? Like, your recap emails are that good. All right, let's see. I can't live without Plod now with my consults, meeting notes, and my clients love. So look, if you want somebody who's doing this, like connect with Monica. She's an expert. I'm sure she'd be happy to collaborate and build new relationships. Or Martha, bring her into one of your accountability groups to talk about this, right? Like Martha, shoot me a text. I'll help you figure out your stuff. My Plod pin is on order, right? Like, look, we're getting into this incredible world of technology that you need to have no tech skills to do it. You literally if you could download a document, upload a document and like ask it questions like it's your employee and think about it that way, all this stuff is done. Like we hired somebody for our family to build us a custom GBT based on our meal plans. No, based on the food that has to do with each one of our blood types, right? Like, so for all of you that don't know this, in your fingerprints are different DNA and genetic markers. And you take that plus your blood, it will tell you what are superfoods, what are neutral foods, and what are foods that are really bad for you that just cause inflammation and sickness. So like an example is my son can't eat black pepper. My daughter, because of her blood type, should not eat chicken, should minimize it as much as possible. But then it's like, great, who the heck knows how to figure out these meal plans, shopping lists, and everything else? We paid somebody to build us a custom GBT that we can upload. Like we could have a nutritionalist give us recipes. We upload the recipes, make us a shopping list, what's good, and it just does it for us. Right? that eventually the thing's programmed to like we could scan our receipts and they could say, based on a month's worth of food, what's our weekly budget for food? This is how much technology can do. So as you can see, everything we do moving forward will be integrated with AI, whether it's our own AI in our platform or it's ChatGPT. Do you all raise your hand or hit yes if you're not on camera? Do you all feel like you've learned something new on how to improve your client experience today? This is a never-ending process. Like, it's not going to end. And the ones of you who choose to do this are going to earn more money. Robert just said in Inman, the best agents are asking for more commission. Because guess what? There's a big difference, right? If Monica goes on a consultation and I go on a consultation, I don't have all this stuff and I can't show an example and explain like how it's really like a luxury experience and service and like, hey, like, do you ever like, and you pose it as a problem or a challenge or wondering how this works? Would it be beneficial before you made a decision? I can show you exactly what it's like when we work together and how we really cater to and provide a luxury service. I'd be like, I want that, right? So Monica could go do her needs analysis, talk about collections, talk about search, and then talk about this. Everything is organized for you. Here's all the feedback. You don't have to think about anything. All you have to do is open, communicate with us, show up, and we'll take care of the rest, and we make the decision together. Is that the type of experience you're looking for? You find anyone that's going to say no? Not people that really want to buy? All right, we got a couple minutes. Questions, comments, thoughts, concerns?
Yeah, Shirag, I just put in the chat that at the end of every year, and I know several members from past years do the exact same thing, we have these client experience scorecards that you created, buyer and seller, for both buyer and seller. And so at the end of every year, I go through those scorecards again and regrade myself every year. And no, so I kind of have a path of what I should be concentrating on to master for the next year.
Yep, exactly.
I don't know if everyone here has access to those because they came out a couple of years ago.
We're uploading them to this. We're uploading both of them to this session.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yep. All right. It's 12 p.m. As always, love in my heart. I love you all. Thank you all for this energy. Get excited. Next year is going to be the best year ever of your lives. Ever. The market's going to open up. Interest rates are going to go down. Whatever happened, the election happened, but it's over, right? Like, it's not like buyers, literally, like we've seen in markets now that the election's over, people are starting to get really busy again. Like, I had an agent, he was in Texas, and as soon as the election was over, he had a flood of calls on all of his listings, where for the last like 3 months they're sitting there with like cricket, 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 cricket. Right. So get excited. We'll be reaching out to you, filled with surprise and delights. If you didn't get our invitation and you can make our holiday party, I highly suggest you come. It will be a night to remember, from food, drinks, open bars, mixologist, a DJ battle between Rory and his chief of staff for who's the king DJ of Compass, and all followed up by a late night session of karaoke. It will be a lot of fun in a great way, just to celebrate the end to this chaotic year for all of you and start the next year with like momentum, energy, connection, love. So if you are coming and you need any recommendations, just email our team. We're happy to help. We encourage you to make the trip, see the local Compass office, or connect with the local agents. There's like 4 or 5 different offices in Fairfield, Connecticut. So let us know, and we're happy to make introductions. All right, everybody. I'll see you all soon. Bye.